Hello again, Summoners. Courses out here with Thunder Gaming League, bringing you another beginner's guide. This week I'll be talking about Garen, the Might of Demacia. So let's get to it. Starting off with ruins, you'll see off to the right I have plus 4.5 movement speed, plus 8.5 damage, plus 13 armor, and plus 6% cooldown reduction. The ruin build will give you huge mobility, especially while using Decisive Strike, while giving you the durability, cooldown, and damage for harass and lane. Now you can go armor pen marks if you want, but it's mostly preference in my opinion. Now going over masteries. I run 11, 11, 8. This allows you decent damage, durability, and mobility, allowing you the mobility to deal with a variety of different situations. Taking 4 points in swiftness will greatly increase your mobility with Decisive Strike, and your movement speed ruins, allowing you to get away from ganks and other tough situations with ease. Now to talk about Garen as a character. Garen is a very tanky fighter that can shut down casters with Decisive Strike, and take out carries with Demacia Justice with ease. And with only being constrained to cooldowns, and the fact he has huge natural defenses with courage, he can stay in a fight longer. Some cons though is that enemies stacking armor can greatly reduce the damage of Judgment, and with good ward placement by an enemy can make a drastic difference in Garen's ability to flank or wait for targets and brush. Now to go over Garen's skills, starting off with his passive, Perseverance. If Garen does not take damage from monsters, towers, or champions for 10 seconds, Garen will generate 0.5% of his maximum health each second, until he is hit again by monsters, towers, or champions. Note that this does not include creeps, so Perseverance will greatly increase your lane sustainability. Now for Garen's first ability, Decisive Strike. Upon activation, Garen will break free from all slows affecting him and gains 35% movement speed for 1.2, 2.25, 3, and 3.75, and 4.5 seconds. And he will empower his next basic attack, dealing 30, 55, 80, 105, 130, plus 1.4 physical damage, and silences the target hit for 1.5, 1.75, 2, 2.25, and 2.5 seconds. Decisive Strike does a lot for Garen and can be used in multiple situations, whether it's shutting down an enemy caster, getting away from a gank, getting somewhere faster, or just dealing huge damage. Whatever the situation is, Decisive Strike will be your bread and butter skill. For Garen's second ability, Courage. Courage's passive grants Garen a permanent armor and magic resist increase by 20%. Upon activation, Garen gains a defensive shield for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 seconds, reducing incoming damage by 30% and granting 30% crowd control reduction. Taking a point in Courage at level 4 will greatly benefit you in lane by reducing the counter harass you take, or by getting away from ganks a lot easier, especially with Decisive Strike. Leveling Courage last is what I recommend, for the only thing that increases is the duration of the damage reduction and the CC reduction, and with good timing and knowing when to activate it, will greatly increase its use, even with only one level in it. Now for Garen's third skill, Judgment. Garen rapidly spins his sword around for 3 seconds, dealing 20, 45, 70, 95, 120, plus 70, 80, 90, 100, 110% of his attack damage, with 1.4 scaling and physical damage to nearby enemies every second. Garen ignores unit collision while Judgment is active, but moves 20% slower while moving through units. Judgment can critically strike and deals 25% less damage to minions and monsters. At level 1, Judgment isn't very powerful, but leveling it beyond that will greatly increase your damage output. Judgment is an easy way to clear waves when you're pushed to your tower or when the situation calls for it, but using it to just farm is never a good idea. It can leave you open to harass and will push your lane. All in all, Judgment will be the skill you use for harassment, followed up by Decisive Strike will make your opponent run away from you 90% of the time. Following Courage right after will decrease the counter harass you take as well. Lastly, Garen's ultimate, Demacia Justice. Garen makes a mighty blow to an enemy champion, dealing 175, 350, 525 magic damage, plus 1 damage for every 3.5, 3, and 2.5 health the target is missing. Demacia Justice is great for finishing off an enemy that is low in health. A very useful tip is that using Demacia Justice while Judgment is activated will activate Demacia Justice beyond its point default range, so use this to your advantage when chasing an enemy. Note that the enemy has to be within the range of Demacia Justice default range of 400 when you activate it while Judgment is still active, otherwise this won't work. Now for the recommended build. Starting off with Ninja Tabby or Mercury Treads, depending on your lane or enemy team's CC and magic damage, followed by a Frozen Mallet, Yomu's Ghostblade, and an Atlas Impaler for your core build. This build will give you survivability, cooldown reduction, and early damage, while giving you an extra boost in speed if needed, and an extra crit chance for proccing on Judgment. After these items, like I say always, build to the enemy team respectively. Some recommended items to help you out are Last Whisper, Trinity Force, Force of Nature, Malum Memortius, and Randuin's Omen. When buying items, start boots and 3 health potions. This will allow you to extra mobility early game to get in the harass and get away from ganks, which is especially useful with Decisive Strike. Next, finish your boots based on the enemy team to Ninja Tabby or Mercury Treads, and buy a ward if enough money, a longsword to start building into Brutalizer. Then finish the Brutalizer. Next, then build into a Frozen Mallet, starting with a Phage. Now how to make lane presence with Garen. With the rune page, masteries, and starting off with boots, your mobility with Decisive Strike will far outlevel your opponents. Using your mobility and controlling the brush, you can pop out and harass as needed, but again remember to farm. Farming is far more important than last hitting, so try to find the balance of the two for full lane control. Once you hit level 4, your damage should be quite good, and by now you should have by Courage. Popping out of the brush with Decisive Strike followed up by Judgment and Courage after Decisive Strike's silence is up. All this will allow you to put on good damage and get away with little damage taken with Courage. If you start running low on health, just stay back and last hit while Perseverance takes effect and pop a health potion to make the healing time quicken, and then rinse and repeat. Now for some quick tips and a review. Remember how much mobility you have and use it to your advantage. Taking bush control and popping in and out will decrease counter harass. Remember to activate Courage after Decisive Strike silence is over for maximum effect. Using Decisive Strike on an AP caster in a teamfight can decrease the enemy's team's damage output greatly. Activating Demacian Justice while the Judgment is active will make Demacian Justice reach farther. You must be in range for Demacian Justice when you activate the ability in order for it to work. Judgment can be turned off shortly after its activation. With Force of Nature, you can roam around doing objectives after surviving a big teamfight and be full health again by the time the next teamfight happens with Perseverance. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you learned something from this video, and if you did, give it a quick thumbs up. I always appreciate feedback, good or bad, as it does help me make better content for you. If you want to know what Thunder Gaming League is, the link to the website will be down in the description below, along with physical reference to skills, masteries, ruins, core build, and more. Favorite the video for future reference, and share the video with your friends. I make tutorial videos every week, so hit the subscribe button to stay informed. Again, this is Course of Thought, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another tutorial.